Stay tuned for Ellie Adder, private investigator. Ellie finds herself in San Antonio, Texas in 1932, where she is hired to catch real horse rustlers on a make-believe motion picture.
I'm Ellie Adder, private investigator. I never know what cases will come my way. Today I received a telegram. It read, "Miss Adder, I require your assistance in identifying some horse rustlers. Come tomorrow if convenient. If inconvenient, come all the same. Tom Roberts." Well, that got my attention. Tom Roberts is a cowboy movie star, known for his amazing horse, Thunder. Roberts has seen his fame fade with talkies, and he's come to San Antonio to make an independent movie, hoping to find renewed success and popularity. The next day, Mr. Roberts met me at the San Antonio train station. I half expected him to bring horses, but he had a car. During the drive to the ranch, where the movie was being made, he filled me in on the details.
Since the Depression started, I've found it hard to make movies in Hollywood, so I came here, where it's cheaper to work. I've had problems finding my voice with talking pictures, but I've got it down now. So, my problem is this. Someone is stealing horses from my movie set. I want you to identify the rustlers. But I don't want you identified as a detective. So, I've told everyone that Pate may be interested in distributing the film. They have sent you down to see if our film is up to snuff. So, you can snoop around, and no one will suspect.
Tom explained further. He brought his own highly trained horse Thunder to the set, but he needed a number of other horses for chases and whatnot. He's hired 2 local horse wranglers, and they have rented horses for the movie from nearby ranches. After we arrived at the ranch and I met everyone and got assigned a room, Tom took me to the barn to meet Thunder, the amazing horse.
Now notice, Thunder can count. Thunder, stomp your hoof 3 times. Hello, Sam. Gus, Ellie. These are my horse wranglers.
Nice to meet you, boys.
Howdy, ma'am.
Howdy, ma'am. Mr. Roberts, we've been out all night, last several nights, looking for those horse thieves.
We've stared at that field where the horses are kept, and we've not seen hide nor hair of them rustlers.
That's true. It's a mystery for sure, Mr. Roberts.
We'll get it sorted out soon. Keep up the good work.
After dinner, Tom and I came up with a plan to catch our thieves. Tom, I suggest a ruse. Can we do something that will attract the thieves? Then we can stake out the field and catch them in the act.
The horses are just plain old ranch stock. What would be attractive?
I saw that your fancy wonder horse stays in the barn while all the others are out in that field. What if you put Thunder out there? Might he attract some flies?
He might. That's a good idea. I'll tell the wranglers to put Thunder out tomorrow.
Then we'll stake out the field tomorrow night and see what happens. I went to my room, and as I was about to get ready for bed, there was a knocking at the balcony door. I peered through the glass, and instead of a raven, I saw 2 teenage girls standing outside. I opened the door and said, Who are you and what do you want?
Miss, I'm Sally. My sister and I, that's her here, Jane. Well, we help the housekeeper with the chores and such. She's our mama. Since you might be buying this movie, we thought you'd want to know that they's mistreating the horses.
Oh? How so?
The movie people don't know nothing about horses. All them stunts cause injuries and make them lame and get sore. And those wranglers just don't care.
But Mr. Roberts is an avid horse owner. Does he know?
Well, he cares about his fancy horse, but them other horses, he just don't see what's going on.
Well, Sally and Jane, thank you for telling me, and I'll talk with Mr. Roberts. Y'all go to bed now.
Thank you, ma'am.
Next morning, I watched the film company shoot several scenes. One scene, shot inside the main house, had sound recorded. The sound recording equipment had many pieces and was quite cumbersome to operate. I wondered how they used it for chases and gunfights. Tom told me that outside they mostly shot silent and planned on dubbing sound in later. The day went quietly, and later after dinner, Tom and I found a hidden spot to observe the field where the horses were kept, and where Thunder had joined his less valuable contemporaries. I had a powerful flashlight, and Tom had his lasso and a 6-gun. Tom, is that gun loaded?
No, Ellie. Just blanks. I figure I can scare them.
Without reassurance, we settled down to wait. I heard the horses begin to move around.
Stay quiet, Ellie, but be ready to shine your flashlight when I give you the word.
I could not see anything, but more sounds reached us from the field.
I hear rustling in the grass.
Would that be the rustlers rustling? Or the 20 horses out there?
Shush! Let me listen. Now, Ellie! Aim straight ahead!
I turned on my light, and there in its harsh glare was Thunder and the 2 wranglers.
Whoa, Gus! What's that light?
Freeze, you scalawags! Put up your hands!
The 2 wranglers stared into the light for a second and then turned and ran.
Run for your life, Gus!
Jumping Jehoshaphat!
Tom fired his gun into the air and took off after them. Tom stopped at Thunder, grabbed his mane, and swung up onto his back. Together they set off in hot pursuit. It all grew still. In a few minutes I saw Thunder come back into my flashlight's range. Tom was riding and he was pulling along the wranglers. He managed to lasso them both. All we needed to do now was wait for the sheriff.
Well, Ellie, that's about it. The sheriff came and took them 2 away. Funny though, they was swearing up and down they never took any of the other horses. They just thought the opportunity to get Thunder and sell him was too tempting to pass up. I'm sure the sheriff will get the truth out of them later.
That seemed to wrap it up. I was tired and wanted to get to bed, and then go home in the morning. But there was a nagging thought that we had not fully sorted this one out yet. My brain was fuzzy, so I decided to put that doubt off until morning. Next morning, I went to breakfast with the cast and crew. I noticed the housekeeper bustling around, serving pancakes, bacon, and gallons of coffee. Her 2 daughters were helping her. I remembered how, the other night, they had been so earnest with their concerns for the well-being of the horses. My rested and breakfasted brain made some connections, and I resolved to test a hypothesis. Tom, come over here and sit beside me.
How ya doing this morning, Ellie? That was good work last night. You did a good job.
I'm not quite finished yet, Tom. Sit with me here, be quiet, and just watch. I'm going to try for the gold ring. Sally and Jane, please come over here.
Yes, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am?
Last night, we caught the two horse rustlers trying to steal thunder. That's just attempted rustling, a minor crime. The sheriff is sure he can get a jury to convict them of stealing the other horses, and that's a hanging offense.
Now, wait, Ellie. No one was accusing them of a hanging crime. Ouch!
Hush up, Tom.
Oh, yes. I forgot.
What do you girls think of that consequence? Do those two wranglers deserve to be hung for their crimes?
Oh, ma'am, that's just awful.
Sally and Jane moved away from Tom and I and went into a huddle.
Jane, what are we gonna do?
I don't know. Fess up, I guess.
I hate to admit it, but you're right. I'll tell him.
They both walked back to us looking scared.
Mr. Roberts and Miss Adder, we gotta confess.
About what?
It was us. We took the other horses.
It was. How? Why?
Why is easy. We took the hurt horses, only the ones that was hurt, because nobody would help them.
We took them to a safe place where they could heal and get better.
But how? Those wranglers said they were watching all night.
We took them during lunch, when everyone was busy eating, and no one was paying us any attention.
Very clever. And resourceful. But you must let me get those horses back. And we'll get some new wranglers who will take good care of them.
We're willing to take whatever punishment you decide on.
Well, let's see now. Here's the thing. Horse rustling is a serious crime. However, I think you were just being responsible when the rest of us weren't. So, I have a proposition for you.
What?
I'm hiring you two as my new horse wranglers. Are you willing to take on that job?
Oh, yes! Thank you!
Thank you.
That was a happy ending. I think the film wrapped up without further incident, and I'm waiting for an invitation to the premiere. Horse rustling, a hanging offense? Where do I come up with these things?
Ellie Adder, private investigator, will return for another adventure in the near future. Tonight's cast: Ellie Adder was played by Emma Bryan. Tom Roberts was played by Steve Martell. Featuring Kelly Martell as Sally, Suzanne Warmack as Jane, Jason Marion as Sam, and Morgan Marion as Gus. Written and produced by Jason Marion and Roger Marion. Music by Jason Marion. This is your announcer, Ben Pearson. Have a pleasant evening.